Funding for Music Voyager provided in part by...
Live concerts are my passion. Now I can enjoy them over and over again.
Additional funding provided in part by the Israel Ministry of Tourism and the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
My name is Jacob Edgar. I'm an explorer, but I don't search for lost cities or ancient ruins. I'm on the quest for a different kind of treasure, music. As an ethnomusicologist and world music record producer, I travel the globe hunting for the best songs the world has to offer. And I suffer through some of the worst, so you don't have to. I've got a backstage pass to the world's music, and I won't stop until I've heard it all.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Israel is a land of contrasts between ancient traditions and cosmopolitan modernity, spirituality and secularism, orthodoxy and hedonism, war and peace. These contrasts are reflected in the music of Israel, which is incredibly diverse and ranges from traditional sounds with roots that are hundreds of years old to cutting-edge grooves that would sound at home in the world's trendiest nightclubs. On this part of my Israeli journey, I visit some of Israel's most historic sites, and the artists I meet give a taste of the variety of influences, old and new, near and far, that are to be found in Israeli music today. Nestled in the Judean mountains between the Mediterranean and the Dead Sea, Jerusalem is a living museum that embodies the paradoxes and majesty of mankind. Enclosed by ancient stone walls, Jerusalem's old city is organized into Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and Armenian quarters, which, try as they might to remain divided, can never truly be separated. Walking around Old Jerusalem is like stepping into a time machine, and the thousands of religious pilgrims who come to walk in Jesus' steps down the Via Dolorosa or pray at the Western Wall or the Temple Mount can feel a personal connection to their most precious religious icons. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre has been an important Christian pilgrimage site since at least the 4th century. Yet step outside the Old City, and you'll find a bustling, modern metropolis of nearly 1 million people. And it's not uncommon to witness Orthodox Jews dressed in black overcoats standing next to hipsters in skinny jeans, and with piercings in more places than the eye can or would want to see. This juxtaposition is exemplified by the first musicians I meet in Jerusalem, Hadag Nahash, whose funky and appealing blend of hip-hop, funk, and Middle Eastern grooves, combined with socially conscious lyrics and a progressive attitude, have made them one of Israel's most successful bands. The band's lead singer, Shannon Street, asked me to meet him at the Machane Yehuda Market, a bustling area of vendors, selling everything from pita bread to pickles.
Israel has become very modernized, especially, let's say, starting in the 60s and 70s, and this is some sort of a reminder of how it maybe used to be in this region.
Israel prides itself on its local agriculture and having turned the desert into fertile land. So there's an abundance of gorgeous fruits, vegetables, and other local products.
You know, Israel in the past few years, chocolate, wine, coffee, beer, cheese, it's all exploding. So it's more fun to live here than it was ever.
Shannon recently opened a trendy pub called Casino de Paris, right here in the market. And it's in the courtyard out front that he and the rest of Hadag Nahash set up to perform an unplugged version of their hit song, Shir Nahama.
שלו את הולכו אצלי צופרת ואולי בעצם לא לשבת כל היום ולכון את זה לשבת כל הלילה אני לא שרד אבל למה לי לצלול ולבדוק בדיקה מזה העתיד שלו.
This song is a clash between a very hip-hop beat, style beat, and very Mediterranean, yeah.
It's about mixed emotions of being an Israeli. On the one hand, all the hardships that we go through, and on the other hand, the enormous amount of happiness that we have circulating in our community.
There's a lot of misconceptions or true conceptions about Israel internationally, you know? From your perspective, what do you think is the thing that most people misunderstand about Israel?
That it's not just a war zone. It's also a good place with good people, good food, good weather, except for today.
Good music. There's a lot of good musicians in Israel and very modern style. And I think in Israel you can find things that you can't find anywhere in the world because you have all the cultures together.
Another Jerusalem-based musician is singer Yasmin Levy, and her music couldn't be more different than Hadag Nahash. Yasmin is a leading Sephardic singer, having performed on many of the world's top concert stages. She is highly respected for her efforts to preserve and develop Sephardic music and the Ladino language.
Sepharad in Hebrew means Spain. So the Jews that came from Spain, they are called Sephardim. And the Jews lived in Spain until 1492. And in that year they were expelled from Spain, as we know, because of the Catholic rulers. But after they left Spain, that Spanish got mixed with different words of different languages, depending on the country that they went to live in. And the same happened all over the world, and it created a language, this mixture, which is called Ladino. Now the songs are all traditional. They are about love, hope, desperation, longing for someone, longing for Jerusalem.
Hotels in Israel have mastered the fine art of breakfast, so much so that the Israeli breakfast is trending in hotels all over the world. And there's a great example of what an Israeli breakfast in a hotel is all about here at the Dan Jerusalem. A typical buffet might start here with pickled fishes. You've got your salmons, herrings, sardines, then you've got a selection of local cheeses. Of course, we're in the Mediterranean, So you've got really beautiful olives, and then fresh salads, tomatoes, cucumbers, mushrooms. On the other side of the buffet, you've got one of my favorite breakfasts, a really typical Israeli breakfast called shakshuka, which is basically tomatoes and eggs cooked together. It's like a kind of a casserole. You won't be wanting for anything at a typical breakfast like this. Another Israeli artist who's been deeply influenced by Spanish flamenco is David Broza. A household name in Israel, Broza is a classic troubadour in the mold of Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, or Bruce Springsteen. We managed to find him in Israel, which isn't easy to do given his busy international touring schedule. And Broza invited us out to the countryside not far from Jerusalem to discover some places that are not only important to him personally, they also have a lot to reveal about Israeli history and heritage.
My grandfather was looking for a place to create a school for peace. After the 6 Days War, he thought Jerusalem should be the city of peace, but he got ousted and thrown out of the city. So he went looking and he found this place, which was a hermitage.
Our first stop is a small village called Neve Shalom in Hebrew, or Wahat as-Salam in Arabic, Oasis of Peace in English. This cooperative community was co-founded by Broza's grandfather in the early 1970s in an attempt to bring Jews and Arabs together as neighbors.
Well, about how many people live in this community?
Right now there'd be 50 families, 25 Arab and 25 Jewish.
So they intentionally try to keep it
completely balanced.
Perfectly balanced.
Have to be absolutely balanced.
People from outside, they can't imagine that there are, from both sides, people that they are willing to make peace and willing to live in coexistence, in equality. And it's living with the other side, it didn't mean that we are accepting all the conflictual or violence actions again from the other side. I'm willing to live with you in equality and in peace. This is the way that we are trying to do things here, to do it and not only to speak about it.
Not far from Neve Shalom is the Red Poetry Winery, a vineyard that's been part of Broza's family since the late 1800s.
I love the name Red Poetry.
Right.
It's for the entire,
that's the name of the wine that they produce. It's called Red Poetry.
Red Poetry. And my entire career has been dedicated to writing music to poetry, whether Israeli, American, or Spanish. It goes very well with my music.
It goes very nice. I mean, when I think of Jewish wine, mostly I think of Manischewitz. So.
My buddies and my friends and the colleagues outside of just the regular musicians that I use, which are Israeli, and when I'm in the States it's Americans, and Spain it's Spaniards, but let's say here within the region, my collaborators and people I work with and associate with would be Palestinians and Arabs who want to get closer through music, just to do what you and I are doing now, looking at each other in the eye. And the music is the medium, and that's the bridge. And after that, it's the wine. I lived in Spain as a youngster, as a teenager, and I brought back with me a lot of influences. But I was playing then Jimi Hendrix and Bob Dylan, so you go figure. This particular song, which is called Hello, has the flamenco tinge to it. It's really flamenco.
Hello, האם את מאושרת? אני שומע בקולך שאת עצובה ונסערת. Hello.
What is that song
This is
about?
a frustrating one. It's this one. It's the Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Damn.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Do you feel okay? You feeling all right? But I can't even, damn, I can't. Hello? It's very funny. Hello?
הלו, מה את אומרת? הקו מקוטע, ואני כמו חיה מיוסרת. הלו.
This wine is made for drinking.
Yeah.
So.
L'chaim.
עמוק וכחול, ירח עולה.
Broza doesn't just talk the talk about peace. He's one of the few Jewish-Israeli musicians that works regularly with Palestinians across the fence. One of his frequent artistic collaborations is with the Palestinian group Sabreen, a band that I've been following since way back in the early 1990s. David Broza made me a very special offer to come to East Jerusalem and to hang out with him and some of the Palestinian musicians that he plays with. And it turns out that this is the recording studio of Sabreen, which is one of the premier Palestinian groups. I had no idea, but it's really special to be invited to this. And we're getting to hang out, have drinks, listen to music, eat shish kebab, and just have a good time.
So it must be beautiful in Arabic too. Tel Arabiya.
During my travels in Israel, I've been on a quest for the country's best hummus, or hummus as they call it here. I visited Abu Ghosh, a famous hummus spot founded by an Israeli man who won $23 million in the US lottery, which he used to realize his greatest dream, to open a hummus restaurant, of course. Betavon. Oh man. You know, okay, this is really good. And it's like you're eating hummus for the first time. You know? It just tastes so much different and so much better. A lot more flavor. Amazing. I leave Jerusalem and head north to the Galilee, one of the most agriculturally rich parts of Israel. Here, we drive by picturesque mountainside villages and lush fields, passing by Nazareth, the childhood home of Jesus Christ. I'm on my way to Safed, or Tzfat, as it's called in Arabic. Tzfat is home to the country's largest festival, devoted to Klezmer music. Influenced by Eastern European folk music, gypsy music, and more recently American jazz, Klezmer is a buoyant, emotive music style that's actually had a pretty big yet largely unrecognized influence on popular American music. Many of the soundtracks for early Hollywood films, like the old Betty Boop cartoons, were basically adapted from Klezmer songs played by the Jewish musicians that formed most of the bands during the beginning of the film industry.
In generally, you say Klezmer, you say happiness.
I meet up with Hanan Bar Sela, the director of the Klezmer Festival, which takes place here every August.
It's 8 stage.
Eight stages.
8 stage, around 200,000 people in the 3 days of the festival. You can believe how in small corners like this became so many people.
Hanan is also a masterful Klezmer clarinetist, and he demonstrates the classic Klezmer sound. One hallmark of Klezmer is the way in which the clarinet in particular is used to imitate the emotions of the human voice. Hanan can make his clarinet sound like it's laughing or crying, and uses these emotional effects in his music. As I continue my road trip through northern Israel, I decide to pass by Akko, an ancient port city on the Mediterranean coast that's famous for its picturesque architecture. never get tired of wandering around old markets like this. There's something about the smell, the color, what it sounds like, just the feel of